What is the unit area for stores, retail sales room for basement and ground floor? I repeat, what is the unit area for stores, retail sales room for basement and ground floor? The answer is 2.80 square meter. 2.80 square meter. Next, what is the unit area for hospitals and sanitaria? What is the unit area for hospitals and sanitaria? The answer is 8.40 square meters. 8.40 square meter. What is the unit area per occupant for aircraft hangars without repairs? I repeat, what is the unit area per occupant for aircraft hangars without repairs? The answer is 46.50 square meter. 46.50 square meters. What is the unit area per occupant for warehouses and mechanical equipment room? I repeat, what is the unit area per occupant for warehouses and mechanical equipment room? 28 square meters. 28 square meters. And last, what is the unit area per occupant for theaters and the like? What is the unit area per occupant for theaters and the like? The answer is 0.65 square meter. 0.65 square meters. Let's have a summary. For unit area for stores, retail sales room for basement and ground floor, the answer is 2.80 square meter. And the unit area for hospitals and sanitaria, the answer is 8.40 square meters. The unit area per occupant for aircraft hangars without repairs, the answer is 46.50 square meter. The unit area per occupant for warehouses and mechanical equipment room, the answer is 28 square meter. And last, the unit area per occupant for theaters and the like, the answer is very small, 0.65 square meters. Next, what is the parking requirement for hotels? What is the parking requirements for hotels? The answer is one slot for every 5 rooms. One slot for every 5 rooms. And what is the parking requirement for public assembly buildings such as cinemas, auditoria, theaters, and the like? I repeat, what is the parking requirements for public assembly buildings such as cinemas, auditoria, theaters, and the like? The answer is one slot for every 50 square meters of spectators area. I repeat, one slot for every 50 square meters of spectators area. Next, what is the parking requirement for multi-family living unit of 50 square meter floor area? I repeat, what is the parking requirement for multi-family living unit of 50 square meter floor area? The answer is one slot for every 8 units. One slot for every 8 units. Next, what is the parking requirements for multi-family living unit above 100 square meter floor area? I repeat, what is the parking requirement for family living unit above 100 square meter floor area? The answer is one slot for every unit. One slot for every unit. Next, what is the parking requirement for multi-family living unit for 50 to 100 square meter floor area? I repeat, what is the parking requirement for multi-family living unit for 50 to 100 square meter floor area? The answer is 1 slot for every 4 units. 1 slot for every 4 units. Next, what is the parking requirement for clubhouses, beach houses, and the like? What is the parking requirement for clubhouses, beach houses, and the like? The answer is 1 slot for every 100 square meter of gross floor area. It's the same with office buildings. 1 slot for every 100 square meters of gross floor area. Next, what is the parking requirements for motels? What is the parking requirements for motels? The answer is 1 slot for every unit. The same with parking requirements for multi-family living unit above 100 square meter floor area. That's 1 slot for every 4 units. Let's have a summary for parking requirements. For multi-family living unit of 50 square meter floor area, 50 square meter floor area, the parking slot is 1 slot for every 8 units. And next, multi-family living unit from 50 to 100 square meter floor area, the answer is 1 slot for every 4 units. And next, the multi-family living unit above 100 square meter floor area, we have 1 slot for every unit. Next, what is the minimum parking requirement for the handicap? What is the minimum parking requirement for the handicap? The answer is 1 slot for every 50 parking slots. 1 slot for every 50 parking slots. Next, for parking requirements, what is the parking requirement for colleges and universities? What is the parking requirements for colleges and universities? The answer is 1 slot for every 5 classrooms. 1 slot for every 5 classrooms. Next, what is the parking requirement for elementary, secondary, and vocational schools? What is the parking requirements for elementary, secondary, and vocational schools? The answer is 1 slot for every 10 classrooms. 1 slot for every 10 classrooms. Summary: for colleges and universities, we have 1 slot for every 5 classrooms, while parking requirements for elementary, secondary, and vocational schools, we have 1 slot for every 10 classrooms. Next, in BP 344, the required width of a corridor. What is the required width of a corridor for in BP 344? The answer is 1.20 meters. That's the required width of a corridor, 1.20 square meters. What is the maximum slope of a drop curve towards the street? What is the maximum slope of a drop curve towards the street? The answer is 1 to 20. 1 is to 20. What is the maximum slope of a drop curve towards adjoining curve? What is the maximum slope of a drop curve towards adjoining curve? The answer is 1 is to 12. 1 is to 12. Next, what is the maximum spacing for wheelchair turnabouts? What is the maximum spacing for wheelchairs turnabouts? 12 meters. 12 meters. Next, what is the maximum slope of a ramp? What is the maximum slope of a ramp? The answer is 1 is to 12. 1 is to 12. Kanina, let's have a summary. The maximum slope of a drop curve towards the street is 1:20, while the maximum slope of a drop curve towards adjoining curve is 1:12, and the maximum slope of a ramp is 1:12. Next, what is the maximum distance of handicap parking from the structure served? The maximum distance of handicap parking from the structure served. The answer is 60 meters. 60 meters. Next, what is the prepared width of corridor for the disabled? What is the preferred width of corridor for the disabled? The answer is 1.50 meters. Kanina, the required width of a corridor in BP344 is 1.20 meters. But what I'm asking later, the preferred width of corridor for the disabled, that is 1.50 meters. Next, what is the maximum height of a water closet from the floor? What is the maximum height of a water closet from the floor? The answer is 0.50 meters. 0.50 meters. What is the maximum height of a water closet? No. What is the preferred height of switches from the floor? What is the preferred height of switches from the floor? The answer is 1.10 meters. 1.10 meters. And how about the minimum height of a switch from the floor? The minimum height of a switch from the floor. The answer is 0.90. So the preferred height, let's have a summary. The height of the switches from the floor from minimum is 0.90, and for the preferred height is 1.10 meters. And how about the maximum height of a switch from the floor? The maximum height of a switch from the floor. The answer is 1.20 meters. 1.20 meters. Let's have a summary again. The minimum height of a switch from the floor is 0.90, while the preferred height of the switches from the floor is 1.10, and we have the maximum height of a switch from the floor is 1.20. Next, what is the less dimension for a parking slot for the disabled? What is the less dimension of parking slot for the disabled? The answer is 3.70 meters. 3.70 meters. In BP344, the minimum height of a handrail. What is the minimum height of a handrail? The answer is 0.70 meter. 0.70 meter. Next, what is the maximum length of a ramp for wheelchair? What is the maximum length of a ramp for a wheelchair? The answer is 6 meters. 6 meters. Maximum length of a ramp for wheelchair. Next, what is the minimum length of a ramp landing for wheelchairs? What is the minimum length of a ramp landing for wheelchairs? The answer is 1.50 meters. 1.50 meters minimum length of a ramp landing for wheelchairs.